Hey everybody, welcome back to another OpenCore related video. It is also an OpenCore video that is probably going to be the last one for me. After this video is done, I will have made 3 of these videos, pretty much covering everything there is to cover. How to get started, how to install, how to update, and all that stuff. And that's really all I wanted to do. OpenCore develops really fast. Whether it's the Legacy Patcher or the classic Mac Pro Martin Low package. And staying on top of all the changes is, more work than I want to invest into this. There's other YouTubers that do this a lot faster and a lot better than me, so I will leave it in their capable hands. But I did want to finish up the, let's call it a mini series of OpenCore with this last video. And in this video, I'll be covering a few things. The focus is updating macOS Monterey on a Mac that uses OpenCore, whether that's Legacy Patcher or the Mac Pro package. That doesn't matter. I'll cover them both here. And that should wrap up this little series of mine. So I have here my Mac Pro, or Mac Mini, used in previous videos. Mac Mini mid-2011. Currently running Monterey 12.1, and I want to update this. So before we update macOS, we're going to open the OpenCore Patcher GUI app that we downloaded in the last video, which is at the time of recording about a week ago, and we're going to see if there's any updates available. Now this Patcher app should reach out across the internet and let me know if there's an update. But I don't see anything happening. I don't know if it's not working or if there's simply no update available. In which case I would hope it would tell me, hey, you're running the latest version. But let's go to the website real quick and check it out. I should still have that in my history, actually. Yep, there it is. 041, 9 days ago, still the latest version. Perfect. If your version of OpenCore is not the latest, go to the GitHub webpage, grab the latest, and install that first. Alright, before you upgrade your operating system or update it, you want to make sure you have the latest OpenCore Legacy Patcher and you install the post-install root patch for your system. That way you have full compatibility with whatever operating system you're upgrading to or updating. So it's important that before you do any updates, your OpenCore Legacy Patcher is up to date. For me it is. So I'm going to close that and go to System Preferences, Software Update, and look, I have an update available. 12.2. Now on OpenCore systems, I believe it works a little bit different. If you have a natively supported system, the update is not nearly as big, but I believe on any system you're running OpenCore on, you will have to basically download the full installer. But I may be wrong on that, so fact check me in the comments. I'm going to download this now, and hopefully my caching server did a good job, and I should already have this on the network, but it might still take a while, so let's fast forward. Now I have skipped macOS Catalina and macOS Big Sur. I had no interest in using those operating systems. They had nothing to offer me. So I don't know if this is new, but since I started using Monterey, there is this preparing thing going on. And unfortunately, the slower your system, the longer this will take. Now we're using OpenCore Legacy Patcher, which means probably you're running this on an older system. So expect 20 to 30 minutes of preparing time, whatever that may be. And after that, it still has to do the install. So be patient. You have to wait for the download, which is 11-12 gigs. Then you have to wait for this preparing nonsense. And then you have to wait for the install. So this is not a quick process. You gotta be patient, and before you get started, make sure you have the time. Carve out an hour and you should be safe. If you have a very slow internet speed, carve out a little bit more time. You want to have enough time to do the download, wait for preparing, wait for the install, and then do any troubleshooting that you might have to do after the install. So make sure you have enough time to get this done. Alright, it's done preparing the download or preparing the install. And now, behind this little black box here is a restart button. Or you just let it restart when the timer runs out. I'm impatient, so here we go. And click it again for good measure. No? Alright. Guess we just wait. And here we are. Let's see if we can log in. Nah, we'll do that later. Yeah, skip it. Alright, so we should have installed the 12.2 update, but here we are, stuck on 12.1. And that is probably because I did not pay attention during the restart. So let's try this one more time. Oh, fantastic. It has to start from scratch. Alright, we'll do it. We'll learn together. Alright, this took considerably longer than the first time around. And this is one of the reasons why at the beginning of the video I said make sure you carve out enough time. Take what you think you'll need plus extra in case you have to troubleshoot. So it downloaded and prepared the update again. Now we're going to click restart. It's not going to restart, so we're going to click it again. And now we wait a few seconds and it should restart. It's a little odd behavior, but I've seen the same on my MacBook Pro. And it's not actually going to restart right away. It's going to do whatever this is first. Alright, now it's actually restarting. And this is where I think I made the mistake the last time around. It restarted and I selected Mac SSD because that's my startup drive. But automatically highlighted was this one, Macintosh HD. And I think I should have just left this alone because this is probably the temporary partition or volume it created with the updater on it. So I'm going to select this one now and we'll see what happens. So what we got was a very slow moving progress bar with no time indication. And now we only have one option. I'm going to leave it alone. It should auto select. There we go. And I fully expect that the update has now been completed. And the lesson we learn here is that whatever is highlighted after the first restart, just leave it alone. The updater knows what it wants. And I could have saved myself 45 minutes by just not touching it. And a third restart. And this should be the final restart as we got a mouse pointer at the top of the screen. So when this is done, we should be put right into the user login screen, but it's OpenCore. We're putting a macOS version on unsupported hardware, so anything can happen. And here we are. see if we update it. We did. Your Mac is up to date, macOS Monterey 12.2. But we're not done yet. The update likely took a bunch of files that it didn't recognize or that shouldn't have been there and trashed them. So what we want to do is go back to our OpenCore Patcher app and install the post-install root patch. It will ask you to restart. Once you click Start Root Patching, it'll ask for root privileges. Alright, now if we needed it, it reinstalled the HD 3000 graphics patch. So we're going to restart one last time and we should be good. And that's it. We have updated our Mac with OpenCore Legacy Patcher on it to the latest version. So for most machines, it is really as easy as going to software update, downloading the install, and going through the motions. As long as you remember to update your OpenCore first, and after you're done installing the update, apply the root patch as well. And that's it for OpenCore Legacy Patcher. Now on a Mac Pro, and we're talking about the Mac Pro 2009, 2010, 2012, also known as the Classic Mac Pro or the cMP. For the cMP, OpenCore is a whole different story. You do not use OpenCore Legacy Patcher. You can, but it's a whole lot of work and you really don't want to go there. For the Classic Mac Pro, we have a pre-configured package created by a guy named Martin Lowe, and he releases updates once in a while on the Mac Rumors forum. Now, forums are great. I much prefer forums over Discord or Facebook or anything like that. The problem is, when a thread becomes too long, it really all falls apart, and I'll show you what I mean. Let me find a website where you can find this Mac Pro OpenCore package. Here it is. OpenCore on the Mac Pro. It's hosted on the Mac Rumors website, and it is a 407-page thread, which is ridiculous. And somewhere in here, you will find the downloads for the latest OpenCore for the Mac Pro. Now you can scan all these pages and hope that you'll find it, but there's an easier way, and that is, ironically, Facebook. So let me find the page you need for that. There is a Facebook group called OpenCore on the Mac Pro. Now, I don't know if I can show you without logging in. No, I can't. Well, that's sad. Or can I? No, I really can't. So, since I don't want to have to transfer my passwords over to this machine, I'm going to pull it up on my phone and just overlay it on the video here. Give me one moment. Here we go, OpenCore on the Mac Pro. What you do is you perform a search, and you search for the name Martin Lowe. And what you'll get, because he doesn't post much, he only does replies, is you'll get something like this: OpenCore 077 released. And this is a lot easier to digest. You have an image that shows you a nice bullet point list with all the bug fixes, issues, new features, stuff like that. When you expand the text, you'll get all the notes for this particular release. Now, it looks a little overwhelming, but it's important you read it, because every release is different. So read that, and then all you have to do is follow the link to the Mac Rumors website. It takes you to that same thread on that same web page, but it'll take you to the right place. At least it should. Where is it? It's at the bottom. So there's a long post preceding it, but here in the attachments you have all the versions: 063, 065, 68, 72, 75, 77. That is the latest version, and that's what you want to grab. So let me grab that on the computer real quick, and then we'll proceed. I am having a hell of a time finding that download without the help of Facebook and the link in the post, so I just had to grab it with a flash drive from my other computer. It's ridiculous. So, this shouldn't be an issue if you are already using a Mac Pro. You should know where to find this, but I'll put links in the description. So what you end up with is this OpenCore folder. Now this is completely different from OpenCore Legacy Patcher. You're not running an application to install anything. It is just a drag and drop solution. What you will end up with is this zip file. I saved the bullet points that you saw on the Facebook post and the notes as well. I just saved those for personal use, but what you will end up with is this zip file. And once you open that, you'll get this. Now I'm going to assume going forward in this video you're already running OpenCore. I'm not going to cover how to install it. I wrote a blog post about that I'll link to as well. This is assuming you already have OpenCore. Now, as with Legacy Patcher, you want to make sure you have the latest and greatest version on your Mac Pro before you do any software updates. At the time of recording, that's 077. So here's how you update it. You find the package using the link below or the one on Facebook, and you open Clover Configurator. Now, I am cheating. This is still my Mac Mini, because I didn't want to set up another machine to get this done. But you open the included Clover Configurator app, and you go to Mount EFI. It'll show you a bunch of hard drives, but the one you're after is your boot drive. So it's going to have your pre-boot, recovery partition, and your main operating system on it. And you click Mount Partition. Put in your password. And usually it'll show up on the desktop, but I have hidden the desktop to keep the video neat. So let me just pull it up here. EFI. And in there you can have multiple folders. You're looking for the EFI one. In there you have Apple and OC. The OC folder is your OpenCore folder. And in there, let me change this to list view. There is a configuration plist. What you want to do is copy that file, create a new folder on your desktop, create a folder, and paste it in there. Alright? Now, there's a reason why I'm creating this folder. In that folder, we'll create two more folders. One original, and one for updates. So what we have here is the original file, and we'll paste the same file in the for updates folder. So stay with me. Right now we have two identical configuration plist files in this OpenCore config versions folder. Right? What you want to do now is pull up a web browser, do a search for BBEdit. It's a very neat text editor and it's free. So grab that, put it in your applications folder, and fire it up. Alright, so we're going to leave the original config plist file alone. Take the file from the 4 updates folder, drag it to BBEdit. And here's your OpenCore configuration data. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here, but there are 2 things you need to change. And before you follow along, I suggest you just finish this video so you know what I'm talking about. Now, the first thing you want to do is do a search for CPU ID1 data as shown on the screen. You'll end up here. And what you want to do is copy this first row of A's with 1 C in it and paste it over the row below so that it matches. Now we have 2 C's right here. Next, we do a search for update SM BIOS. And we'll end up here. And what we have to do is change the true to false. And that's it. Make sure you save the file and close BBEdit. So what you have now is the original config plist and the 4 updates config plist. I had to rename these folders, by the way. My recording suddenly stopped, so if I named this something else before, same idea, just maybe a different name. What you do now is go back to your EFI partition and drop the 4 updates config plist in here, overriding the one that's currently there. And then restart your Mac Pro. The reason you have to do this is the Monterey package is configured by default to protect your Mac Pro. There are several reasons, and I won't go into too much detail because I don't really know those details. Way too technical for me. But the Mac Pro needs certain protections. And Martin Lowe, who created this package, always wants to make sure that your Mac can boot into Mojave. That's the last natively supported operating system. So he always wants the users to be able to fall back on a Mojave boot drive if needed. Because in Catalina and in Big Sur and in macOS Monterey, there have been some weird quirks that cause some real mayhem on the classic Mac Pro. So these protections were built in to make sure that when a new version of Monterey or Big Sur or whatever you're on is released, your Mac will not show it to you if you're running Catalina or Monterey. From what I understand, all the issues with Big Sur have been ironed out. So Big Sur, you should be able to update over the air as you wish and do everything. But if you're running Catalina or Monterey, you have to make these configuration plist changes before software update even tells you there's a new update available. Now, like I said, I'm cheating. I'm currently on a Mac Mini, but pretend that this is a Mac Pro. So you made the changes, you replaced the configuration plist, and you restart it. Now when you go to software update, you should see the Monterey 12.2 update available. If you do, go ahead and install it. There's one thing I should notice when I did this on my Mac Pro. When it restarted and it showed the boot picker with all the options for operating systems, it showed me a pre-boot volume. When you see that volume pop up, make sure you select it and then continue to install. It should only be there once, but I had to manually select it before it was able to install the update. So you've done the update, your Mac Pro is now running the latest Monterey. What you want to do now is take the original configuration plist and put that back on your EFI partition. You will have to mount your EFI partition again with Clover Configurator. Put the original config plist back on your EFI partition. When you're done, unmount the partition, quit Clover, and then restart your Mac one more time. And your Mac Pro will be updated. Now, every time you want to install software updates, you have to make this little swap. You have to put this config plist on your EFI partition, restart, grab the software update, install it, put the original config plist back, restart again, and your update process is done. It's a little bit more involved, but trust me, these protections are there for a very good reason. Martin Lowe makes this package. There's a team of people that are testing it for him. Full disclosure, I'm on that team. I'm there for moral support. I don't do a lot of testing these days. But it goes through a decent amount of testing before it's released to the public. So whatever protections are in there and whatever procedures are prescribed, you would be wise to follow them. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, why can't you just leave that altered configuration plist file on your EFI partition? Well, I don't know exactly, but before I started recording this video, I asked around to make sure I had my facts straight. So here's a few of them, and I'll probably overlay them on the screen as I call them out, but the default package, so as is, as you download it, can boot Mojave and newer operating systems on your classic Mac Pro. But it cannot install Catalina or Monterey. If you want to install Catalina or Monterey, you have to make those changes before you can do that. Leaving it as is, you can install macOS Big Sur, and you can install over-the-air updates on Big Sur. Over-the-air means whatever software update presents you with. So these changes are really only for Catalina and Monterey. And again, they're there for a reason. There's some very nasty bugs in there and some protections that you really need. Now, once you do configure that file or make the changes to that file, you can boot Catalina and newer. Potentially, you can no longer boot Mojave or older operating systems. I was unable to fully verify this, but it was recommended that every time you make the changes to the configuration plist, after you're done installing or updating, just be safe and revert back to what it was. This was recommended to me by someone that builds and tests these packages before they're released, so I fully take his word for it. And that's the process for a Mac Pro that runs OpenCore, the classic Mac Pro or the Martin Lowe package. And that's it. That's how you update macOS Monterey on your OpenCore Mac, whether that's a Mac Pro with a special Martin Lowe package or a Mac that's running OpenCore Legacy Patcher. This is how you should be able to get it done. Now, I should point out that all the information in this video is currently valid for OpenCore Legacy Patcher version 0.4.1 and the OpenCore Martin Lowe package version 0.7.7. All of the information in this video might be dated or flat out incorrect a week or an hour after I publish this. So always revert back to the OpenCore Legacy Patcher website, the OpenCore posts from Martin Lowe on the Facebook groups that I'm linking below. Always make sure you read those first. Check out the release notes, any special tweaks or things you need to do for the classic Mac Pro, make sure you check that. So use this video as a guide for the procedures on how to do it, but use the websites and all the reference material for the details, the finer details that may not be covered in this video. And I think that about covers my my little venture into OpenCore videos. Now, I'm sure there is a lot of cool stuff coming, but like I mentioned, I don't really have the time or the desire to cover each and every update. If there's something really cool coming down the line, I'll probably do a little video about it, but expect this to be it for me when it comes to OpenCore. You definitely want to check out Mr. Macintosh. He will do an update video before I even realize an update is available, so definitely check him out. Great content there. And that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this. Please take your time when you update your Mac, and like I said, make sure you have enough time available. Read the websites, ask questions on Discord or Facebook, all the resources and reference materials I mentioned in the last video, and you'll be just fine. There's plenty of help out there. Everybody in the community is really eager to help out, so you'll get it done. Take care, enjoy your new macOS Monterey on your unsupported Mac, and I will see you next time. Take care.